Neighbor disputes, harassment, assaults. As criminal defense attorneys and as attorneys, we've dealt with an enormous number of these. We want to give our perspective and opinion on them. First and foremost, starting really with, is it a civil matter or a criminal matter? You want to keep it civil if you can.
Yeah, because if it goes criminal, typically what's happening there is you don't want to have this air itself out in criminal court, because that's how you go to jail. Mm-hmm. That's where you end up with all these conditions on where you can go, where you can't go, yada, yada, yada. What you want to do is get it in the civil arena, let a judge hear it and go, no, this isn't good. Yes, that's good. No, that's not good. And you can start working your way out in a situation in which you're not going to jail.
Well, and that's the civil arena really means that I think that translates into practical reality, into when you're having that problem and it's clear that it's escalating outside of your control. You can't say to somebody as a neighbor, hey, could you stop doing that at 2 o'clock in the morning? It's really making me crazy. We really like you guys as neighbors. Something civil, and the guy says, pound sand. At that point, you should start looking into whether or not you should get a civil protection order or anti-harassment order, because if you do what maybe you did 50 years ago, which is you pound their face once or you hit them somewhere where they don't bruise, you still potentially expose yourself to a criminal charge. And once that happens, the power imbalance is all whacked. The other guy's been labeled a victim.
Right. And the other thing you need to realize about these type of cases is, if this is something that's happening, as Robert says, after about 10 o'clock at night till 4 in the morning or whatever it may be, I'll put money on it that drugs and alcohol are involved on the other party, not you specifically, but you've got those mitigating circumstances. If it's happening before 10 o'clock in the evening, say it happens around noon, 2 o'clock during a football game or something, whole different ball of worms there, because what's going to happen is it's a matter of, all right, what started this? Why did you get so pissed off at this guy that you felt it was proper to hit him?
And sometimes it's just personality conflicts. Mm-hmm. Some people just can't hear other people talk for whatever reasons. They can't hear somebody else being reasonable. Don't run your motorcycle at 6 o'clock at night. I'm trying to get some work done. They just can't, they won't modify their behavior. And I think at that point, it's really important that you start documenting. And often that means calling the police to start documenting your case, because you don't want to sit there, harbor all this anger, and then explode, because that's how you end up being labeled the aggressor in these kinds of cases.
When in fact your neighbor's the idiot that's causing the actions to occur. Mm-hmm. That being said, what you want to know in these cases are, what was the issue? Why did it blow up? Who hit who for what reason? How did it start? Is there any sort of self-defense, defense of others, defense of property, anything like that? Who was the primary aggressor? Who threw the first punch? Was there any type of use of force outside of fists? If garden tools were involved, we need to know that. If guns were involved, we really need to know that.
And also, it's important, I think, in particular in neighbor dispute cases, if this guy or gal or couple is the village problem, is the neighborhood problem, the character evidence can be brought into criminal proceedings. And so starting to go out and figure out what that person's reputation is for violence, what their reputation is for truthfulness, bringing in other neighbors who are like, yeah, this guy's been a thorn in our side for 2 years, ever since we moved in, he's the worst thing that happened in the neighborhood, or whatever, becomes really relevant. So you need to have a defense attorney or somebody who's knowledgeable about how these cases play out in protection order proceedings and or criminal proceedings. Start putting that case together, either up front in the civil system, I hope, or worst case scenario in a defense perspective in the criminal system, trying to prevent you from getting charged,
right,
or off the hook.
No, and just remember, there's the last guy that's there. You could be the guy that ends up being arrested, because the other people are like, oh, I'm the almighty victim. They call the cops. Cops come over to talk to you. You still may be fuming, and so you blow up at the cops, and they're like, well, what the hell did I do?
Your favorite line, you failed the personality test.
You flunked the personality test, you go to jail, and the guy who should be going to jail is sitting at home going, ha ha ha, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful there, because if they label you the primary aggressor, it's not the kiss of death, but it sure makes dealing with your case a whole lot harder, simply because we've got the prosecutor saying, your guy's the idiot, not the alleged victim here. And then we have to go in and say, no, here's why the other guy's the actual aggressor. My guy was still so pissed off at what happened initially that he blew up when the cops got there. This is also an area, we can talk about this later, but you've got issues like mutual combat, anti-harassment orders, protection orders, restraining orders, no contact orders. There's a whole plethora of additional information that we can talk to you about, but it's all very fact specific, so we're not going to waste your time here.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you got to call us, and you got to sit down and talk to somebody about what's going on. And from my perspective, a guy that really truly realizes we cannot ever touch anybody else now in today's society, and so you're left with really either the police department or, I think, really the protection order system is how you have to deal with people that are a problem. It's a shame, but it also, I suppose, is more civilized. You know, in some cases, maybe I don't have the civilized instinct.
As my wife would say, she hates the same, but it is what it is. Deal with it.
Yeah. Anyway, call somebody. Call us all.